AA Best Bail Bonds big game coverage live from Miami.
It is the Blitz here on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM. He's Jason Minix. I'm Rob Thompson. Your AA Best Bail Bonds Radio Row coverage continues. Let's talk some action. Let's talk some numbers. Let's talk how we're going to get some squalor. Darren Rovell joins us from the Action Network. How you doing today?
I'm good.
We are glad.
Radio Row again.
Radio Row again.
Here, car wash.
And you go through the car wash. There's so much going on. And, you know, I think about when you left to go to the Action Network.
Right.
A lot of people thought, that's kind of a risky move, but you bet on it. And
I think now when you look back at it, it's probably more of a risky move to stay at ESPN.
Possibly.
Right? I mean, I move like 3 or 4 months after the Supreme Court decision, and then the place where I moved to, where I live, New Jersey, becomes Vegas East essentially, and I go to work in a bus wrapped in a FanDuel ad. You know, it's like the trains have like 6 different sports books, and essentially like it's turned into Europe. Yeah, it's amazing. $4.5 billion bet in New Jersey alone in 2019. So,
do you expect, Darren, that it will? You mentioned Europe, that the European model will come into play, where there'll literally be kiosks at the stadium.
Yeah, I think what's different is we thought that it was going to be that, and kiosks just don't make financial sense. I mean, you think about it, it's cool. But what makes sense is what you see at like the New Jersey Devils games, where there's like 3 or 4 different sports books. They try to bring you into the lounge area. The key is to get you set up on the phone, on your phone, on their app, because a kiosk is a one-time thing, right? It's like, we don't know who you are.
Right.
We can't pitch to you. It's a one-time, like, print out your ticket and you scan it. It's like the lottery, right? They want you on your phone. They want to be able to reach you. And that's so the idea, there will be kiosks, by the way, some, during the NHL games at the Capital One Center, not during NBA games when the Wizards are going on. But it's kind of like a idea of old that actually doesn't make sense anymore. So it's all going to be about betting on your phones. I have 19 different New Jersey sports betting apps on my phone.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And I know tendencies, too, by the way. Like, I know, like, if I want to bet live, that PointsBet is going to give me, if it's the best number, the slowest, like, the fastest rotation to actually get me that bet. Because there's some sports books you're betting live, and it's like, I'm like, come on, I know it's going to be the next play. Like, my advantage is, like, it's on the 35-yard line, and I'm making a bet that they're not going to score or they're going to score. If you're taking me to the next play,
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
So,
now, in Texas, we're not there yet.
You're not there yet.
Which sucks.
You're far away.
We're far away.
You're probably at 2022.
Well, that's closer than I thought.
Or 20. Well, you might be last at this point.
Well,
California's moving faster than Texas.
And our problem is our state legislature only meets every other year. So
that's not true.
Yes.
That's true?
Yeah.
And any law
I
that
had
is
no
passed
idea.
in Texas,
How many states only meet every other year?
Hey, it's
there
a good
can't
thing,
be.
man. We don't
There
want
can't be many.
well, we've learned the less they do, the better off
Right.
we are.
Right.
But the problem when we look to progress and look toward the future, we do have to deal with an every other year kind of thing.
Right.
And the thought is that the votes will hit next year, as you were saying. I'm not even sure we'll see it in 2022, but there will be an expansion of maybe we'll have a little bit more at the pari-mutuel sites. They
Right.
might open up a book there, but there might not be
I mean,
availability everywhere else.
the problem is, are people morally opposed? One, are there tribal issues? Two. I mean, those are really the two things that. But it even seems that California is going to get past the tribal issues. Is there a way to make a pact with the tribe? Because the tribes obviously think, wait, we have this kind of sovereign agreement where, and we don't want the money that we think we're going to get, one, to be taxed. So we don't want all of a sudden to have a sports. You say you could do sports books, but that part is going to be taxed, and we don't want the money on casinos going away by virtue of people spending their money on sports. So that's probably my least favorite part of my job. The actual concrete beat, the legislative beat, but it's a part of my job. I have to know in what states are mobile, in what states are not, that kind of thing.
Darren Rovell of the Action Sports Network joining us here on ESPN San Antonio. When did you ever believe 10 years ago that you would be doing what you're doing now?
No. I mean, I believe that I'd be covering the business of sports, and I think just at some point it just got to, well, I'm covering more and more gambling. So it's like, hey, I'm doing 20 stories on gambling. I'm doing 40. I'm doing 60. And then I realized like 35% of my work was on gambling. Could I do this full time? And the question was, yeah, absolutely, especially as it grows. And so, I don't think I thought I was going to cover the business of sports gambling exclusively in 2017, So 10 years, forget about it.
Darren Rovell here on ESPN San Antonio. When you talk about gambling and sports, and it goes way back, you had a story today. Last time Chiefs won the Super Bowl, all right, Len Dawson, their quarterback, was getting investigated for gambling.
Yeah, and it turned out to be nothing, but it was a very big scandal. It got to him. And I just actually stumbled upon this, and just going through old news articles, just looking at, for my Twitter feed, I always try to research some cool things. One of the things that was interesting, the last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, there were two different balls. There was an AFL ball and an NFL ball. And it was not just the stamping. They were two uniquely different footballs.
Interesting.
Which I didn't realize.
I didn't realize that either.
The AFL ball was more pointy. I mean, it was written in the January 1970 newspapers, familiarizing yourself with the two balls that will be played in today's game.
So what ball was adopted permanent? Was it the AFL ball or the NFL ball?
I actually do not know the answer.
Very
to that.
interesting.
All right, well, there's your homework.
But can you imagine? Why didn't you intercept that pass?
Well, it's a different ball.
Well, you know how I usually catch our ball in practice? It's not the same.
That one's too pointy.
Yeah, it's too pointy. It's stuck.
Darren Rovell joining us. I saw a tweet about Patrick Mahomes likes ketchup.
Yep.
And how does that play into what numbers?
I've been doing it's called Fade Rovell. It's with a sports book in New Jersey where I take a bet, you take the other side, they give you the best odds to take the other side to go against me, and if I lose, I have to do something crazy. So this week I think Mahomes is going to have less. It's really 2.5. The under on 2.5 touchdowns. Which seems like it's a bad bet. What I like to do is I like to pick things that seem like they're a bad bet. Mm-hmm. Like Lamar Jackson will not have a rushing touchdown. I won that one. People thought we were like that sportsbook was giving free money away. Like Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown, easy. The next week I like Derrick Henry wouldn't have a touchdown of any kind. Now he happened to, but he only ran for 69 yards, 7 in the second half. Like. It was basically a coin flip, but again, that seems like something crazy. But Mahomes, he likes ketchup. He's got to deal with Hunt's ketchup. So if I lose, I will put my cell phone in a bath of ketchup and will have to bob it out with my head.
Fair enough. I hope you win.
I do too. Although I've had other challenges that have been, I would say, I shouldn't say because I said that this was a bad penalty, but significantly worse.
Yeah. For those that are going to play, and obviously the action this week, and it surpasses everything for the year.
And by the way, it's the worst week to bet.
That's my question. When is the best time to lay the bets? I mean, a lot of people wait until game time.
So it depends. Like I think the best time of the year to bet on a game is when you think that for some reason the formula has changed and the team that all the formulas that the books come out with is not the team that the formula accounts for. And I'll give you an example. The Miami Dolphins this year. I went 6-1 on the Miami Dolphins that were the Fitzgerald Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. Right? Because they were a different team than they were in the beginning of the year.
Absolutely, they were.
And so that screws up a lot. Now I'm not betting on who you're betting on. I'm not betting on either team. I'm betting some props. There's some books that have 35 yards is receiving yards, and another on the same guy is 27. That's enough of a difference that you bet the edges. But there's not like who you betting on, who's the team. Even if you look at the sports books and who's betting on who, it's like 52% on the 49ers and 48% on the Chiefs, or reverse, but it's very close. I don't think anyone has any indication what's going to go on in this game.
Judging by who and what we've talked about,
I mean, Trent Dilfer came out yesterday saying, I think it's going to be a blow-up by the 49ers, and it seemed like he was basing that based on, like, the 49ers of the 80s, so I wasn't sure, like, not taking a shot at him, but, like,
it's Trent.
I have no
Yeah.
idea, but I was like, he was mentioning Jerry Rice and Joe Montana more than, like, Garoppolo and Kittle, so I just didn't know what 49ers he's looking at. It's a crapshoot, really.
Darren Rovell of the Action Network right here on ESPN San Antonio. So prop bets is where you would.
Yeah, I like prop bets.
All right.
I like prop bets.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time
got
out,
it.
man.
Thank
the
you, guys.
insight behind the scenes in the gambling is really something we're following very closely. We're eager for it to come and arrive in the state of Texas. We'd have to run to Louisiana, New Mexico, or all the other places.
Yeah,
where
it's
they're
good.
sucking the money out of the
You
state.
should become a good runner.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Darren
Good deal.
Rovell, thank you so much
Appreciate
for
it,
your
guys.
time. Have
Thank
a great
you.
week here.
You got it.
Super
Thanks,
Bowl.
guys.